Hi guys, before we get into today's wonderful episode with Trinny Woodall, I just wanted to give you a quick trigger warning regarding the topics discussed. This episode includes discussions on sensitive subjects which some listeners may find upsetting, and they include miscarriage, fertility, death, disability, and drug addiction. Please listen with care and make sure you prioritise your well-being. Links in our description to find support. Thank you.
Coming up, Trinny from the telly. And I was like, yes. We watch your show. I was like, thank you, Lord. Whenever she comes back from uni, she comes in and she stalks. And she goes, that's new. And then she'll...
That's going to be mine.
Hello, darling. One day you're going to be mine. And that's literally, she talks to my clothes. We then did IVF and I had miscarriages. You know, I was in situations where we were filming and I miscarried, you know, when we were filming. And then you go... Oh, okay.
It's like your heart just sinks.
Your heart just sinks. And so I just thought, that's it, you know. I've lost it again.
Oh, Louise. December already.
We're here.
The elf on the shelf's back.
Know, it's back. So you're an elf on the shelfer?
I am. I don't want to be.
Me neither.
But it's like,
I am.
You go to bed at like 10:30, 11 o'clock and you lay down and you're like, I've locked the doors, the dishwasher's on. And then you think, have you done the elf?
Do you go really creative, like loo roll everywhere or the cellophane on the loo seat and Cheerios
Well,
in it?
I don't do the cellophane on the toilet because I made a mistake of doing that a few years ago. And my 4-year-old at the time went for a wee and I'd put like, you know, the jelly sweets that come in like a plastic packaging that like spiders and stuff and you have to peel the top off and it's like jelly slime. So I put a load of those on and the elf, like a pretend fishing rod, and he basically all over it. And then once he'd weed and the wee had just dispersed, he was like, and then just started picking the sweets off to eat them. I was like, no.
God, yeah,
maybe
not that one. Maybe not that one.
Yeah.
Last year I got to the point where I ran out of ideas and was kind of sick and tired of it. So I got my like food blender processor, whatever it is, and I attached an elf on it, and it looked like it was doing like a lap dance, like it was spinning round and round and round.
A little slut drop in the kitchen.
Yeah, it was quite. I'm going to do that one again, but I think the kids were like, "Mum, what is that?"
And you have to do different because like our kids are getting older. They will remember like what we did last year.
The mental load in December
is insane.
How many emails and text messages and WhatsApp have you had from the school?
So
like,
many.
Just today.
But part of me was like, we should have a separate WhatsApp group for nativity. We should have a separate WhatsApp group for like concerts and all. And then I was like, no, we don't.
No.
But I'm just losing my thread with what we've got on for that day and that day. Bradley had a sports fixture the other day and he was like, are you coming today, mummy? And I was like, well, what's going on today? And he said, I've got my rugby match. And it was at another school and I had Annabelle with me and it was raining. I was like, there is not a chance I'm taking that 2-year-old like to a rugby pitch in the rain. So I felt really bad. So I had to say to my husband, sexual favours, you can go.
Fine.
Do you know my friend has created an advent calendar for her husband and every day it's a different sexual favour.
What, for
December?
For doing a chore?
No, just his advent. So, what do I have today?
She's giving out sexual favours
to
every
him.
day.
Yeah. So she's made an advent calendar. So like Monday.
Is it going to sell?
Tuesday. Just between them
just
two.
For him.
Yeah. And she was like, do you do anything like that for your husband?
Do they have kids?
No, they don't have
there
kids.
You go. Which I'm just going to move on to the parenting fail this week. This happened last week. And I just want to say, if there are any little ears listening, probably best to zone out right now and
not listen.
Yeah. So we're in the car, got all the 3 kids in the car. And when we're in the car with the kids, we don't give them, you know, iPads or phones or anything because, you know, we're only going like 20 minutes down the road. They do not need an iPad in the car.
Yeah.
And we like to chat, you know, as a family in the car and sing. Anyway, so we're in the car. You can tell that all the kids are engaged in what we're talking about. And I am on my phone and I'm writing a script for a reel, which will probably go out at some point this week. And Jesse's like, oh, what are you doing? And I said, I'm just writing a script for a reel that I'm doing for Christmas. And then I said, actually, I could use some help. I said, what things do mums do at Christmas, you know, that maybe dads possibly don't do? And the first thing he said, apart from everything, the first thing he said in front of my 3 children,
oh God,
two of them who are very much believers,
Yeah.
he said, oh, well, you do all the Christmas stockings.
He did.
And I just gave him the look of death.
Yeah.
And he went, what?
Oh, no.
And I was like, our children are in the car, read the room, and you've just basically said that I do all the stockings.
Yeah.
And he still was like, what? I was
love
so
this
angry.
Sound, the audio impression you do with your husband.
I was so angry. I was like, you couldn't have said something else, or maybe no. Oh yeah, you filled the stockings, and then so I got angry, and then he was like, "What? They've never heard the word stockings before?" And I was like, "No, of course they haven't. How about maybe every Christmas where I say, let's get your stockings out.
Yeah.
Let's put your stockings at the end of the bed.
Stocking
What's in your
fillers.
stockings?
Stockings.
Yeah, so I just wonder if, my husband basically killed the magic of Christmas right there in that moment.
What did the kids say? Do you think did they hear and say, what does he
They
mean?
didn't. I really, really hope they didn't hear, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did hear
Oh.
and just kept quiet. Like my eldest knows, but the 6-year-old is very much, and I want to hold on to that for as long as I
It's
can.
so magical, isn't it? Like
It's
the
so- it's
excitement
so
and build up
magical.
at this time
Oh,
when they're like so excited.
it's the
But you always have that
best.
moment where they're like, what did you get me for Christmas? Well, and then Bradley last year was like, Mummy, everybody's bought us presents apart from you and Daddy. And I was like, we pay the mortgage and
Yeah.
the gas and the electric.
You want a gift? You're watching television.
Yeah. I was like, oh God, Bradley, no, we sort of, we've, Christmas dinner, and I was trying to find things that we've got for them. But my friend has got a thing where they get one gift from Santa and they wrap it in gold paper.
Oh, okay. That's
So that's
nice.
the
So what? No
gift-
stockings?
So they have stockings and stuff, but they'll have that one
One
gift from
present under
Santa,
the
and then
tree.
all the other bits around it are from them and the family.
Okay.
Because my friend was like, well, isn't it weird that you don't get anything for your kids at Christmas?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, we've never done it like that. So
I get confused because we tell the kids to write to Santa, like, what you want for Christmas.
yeah.
But those presents that they ask for, then it's from me. Is that weird? Am I doing it wrong? Like, I didn't have a present under the tree from Santa. It was just my stocking.
Yeah.
Is that what you had?
So we just had our presents set out on a chair, and we'd stand
a
at the top.
chair?
Yeah. So we
What?
just have them
Instead of a
me and my
Christmas tree?
Yeah. So we'd have the Christmas tree there, my chair and Andrew's chair, and then we'd be like stood at the top of the stairs, like, he's been. And then when you're younger and you're like, I think I've just seen him. I've just seen him.
Yes.
And my mum and dad would be like that.
Oh,
Just get back to
yeah.
bed. It's like 4:00 in the morning, but that excitement. And then
that
some
excitement.
people I know get like Christmas paper and just like put that in front of the door.
We
so
do
then
that.
you have to break
Yeah, we do
through
that.
it.
It's-
and
yeah,
I
that's
just
really fun.
love everybody's different traditions. Like we have tea time presents at home. So every year my dad buys me a jar of pickled eggs. It's just the same thing every year. Sounds a bit weird, but we just
I
get
think
each
I've
other
ever
like
had a pickled egg.
Yeah,
I love
like-
eggs and I like pickle. So together, that could be
Oh,
quite
Louise,
the
I'm going to
delight.
get you a little tea time present for
Could
Christmas.
be my secret Santa gift.
What did you get from Hannah? Just some pickled eggs. Like,
Pickled eggs.
good friends, are you? Yeah. Going really well. Yeah.
What about you? Parenting fails this week?
So Annabelle, as I've made you aware, like she's having her terrible twos at the moment,
Yes.
and it's absolutely delightful. Until I went into the supermarket the other day, she started to have a tantrum on the floor, and I was like, dirty, off the floor, dirty. And then I said, right, Annabelle, if you're going to have a tantrum, let me know when you're finished. And there's quite an attractive guy walking down the cereal aisle. And I took about 10 paces in front, and I turned around, and literally she'd got 15 boxes of cereal and just f***ing swiped it off the shelf onto the floor, and like almost like hooked the cereal boxes and
wow.
continuously walked. And I was like,
gosh.
and I looked like I just was so out of control and didn't know what I was doing. And she just looked like she's out of control because of how I behave.
God.
So I did that thing, and I haven't done that before. I'm like, you let me know when you've finished your tantrum.
So she's like, wicked.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you what I can really do.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how when you look at your day to day, just getting ready for school, getting ready to leave the house, like every parent is doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Of like, right, you don't want cereal, you love shreddies, you don't want shreddies tomorrow, you want a cornflake, you hate shreddies, you don't want that spoon. Which spoon do you want? Paw Patrol. You want a knife and fork. So I'm like, you eat your shreddies with a knife and fork. You don't want that cup, okay? And all you're trying to do is just get ready.
Yeah.
And like sometimes I leave with like blusher on one side of my face and mascara on one
Yeah.
eye. And then you leave and you're just like, it's okay, we're all fine, we're all happy.
Yeah, we all
And
made it out. We're
yeah.
all still here. She first became a household name telling the nation what not to wear, but today she's revolutionising the beauty industry.
From fashion guru and author to the founder and CEO of Trinny London, our guest is a true entrepreneur and style icon.
Absolutely. Please give a huge welcome to the one and only Trinny Woodall.
Woo! Good morning.
She's here.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. And can we just say how fabulous you look and you are, just generally.
Well, can I just say what an amazing setting you have? First of all, you're both looking great. The lighting is relatively flattering. You know, it's a sophisticated room. Just for those of you who've never actually imagined what it's like for Louise and Hannah in their podcast world, there's a little bar in the corner. There's lots of, you know, incredibly impressive camera equipment, which seems to be remotely controlled. And there's a gallery upstairs where people are watching this podcast and, you know, speaking in their ears. That's how sophisticated their podcast is. Mine was in a small, dark cellar in Shoreditch.
Yeah, but it was still a great podcast.
But still, you are on it.
Yeah, well, you're here. You're here. We're so thrilled.
So delighted to have you.
I'm very happy to be here. But I'm wondering, am I the grandmother in the room of the mothers you chat to? Because I don't have little children anymore.
No, but you
Absolutely
have.
not.
How old is your daughter?
22.
So we need to know what that's like. What
Oh,
is it
you
like
do?
having
Yeah,
a
we do,
22-year-old?
yeah.
What are
It's
we?
different
What are we
for
in
everyone. We have a certain relationship. So I'd say we're really very close on some levels, and on other levels we have a line that we draw to divide things. So I think when you're a sort of single parent, there's an intimacy and there's things that occur which maybe don't occur when there's two parents. And the biggest differences are you kind of know you only have each other. And especially if she has a half brother.
Does he live with you?
No, he has lived with me though.
Right.
He moved out last year. And
Is
he
this
was,
Zach?
This is Zach,
Yeah.
who you met.
Yes.
But you're very close, but you know you have to make up. You know, so you can't, I think growing up, you can't feel I can play one off against the other, or
Yes.
I can go to dad when mum's upset, or I can
Yeah,
go to mum when dad's
Yes.
upset. So there's that little sort of thing which any parents who have an estranglement with their partner would notice that. So on the other hand, you need to keep your own space. So because Lyla is nearly a single child, apart from Zach, her brother, she likes her own time as well. And also the big thing now, being 22 at university in Madrid, and we probably speak about 3 or 4 times. We probably speak about 3 times a day now, or twice a day.
that's
But we used to
lovely.
speak 10 times a day. But she would never, ever, ever tell me anything about her relationships.
Right.
All right. So I go, you know, how's dating going? I'm not telling you. And Zach and I go, have you got a boyfriend? I'm not telling you. And when I get engaged, I might tell you.
Oh,
so
wow.
there's this
So
kind
literally
of real
nothing at all.
bum. All right. So
And why is that? Are you private about talking about your relationships to your daughter? Would you not say,
I'd
oh, you're
shout
quite
from the rooftop
open?
if I had one,
Yeah.
darling. No.
Are you
So-
looking for love?
I don't know. I think I'm open to it, but I'm not.
On the
have a-
apps or anything?
No, I'm not on the apps. I'm
Would you rather be more organic and meet somebody?
Totally. Like whether it's
naturally.
on an aeroplane. So I just try and fly a lot.
I was just talking about this in the makeup
She
room.
flew here
the
this
amount
morning.
of people there. I met a guy on a plane once.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I ended up sleeping with him.
Did you?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
then we-
On the plane or
No,
afterwards?
no, not on the plane. I'm not part of that club yet. Yet?
We met
No.
5 minutes ago. We had a quick bang in the
Yes,
toilet. Nice
exactly.
to
I
meet
always
you.
feel it'd be really uncomfortable, and they always are so small and dirty, and you just think, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen people come out of the toilets together on a plane.
Have
Yeah.
you?
And being like, oi, oi.
When you think though, somebody from like row 23's just dropped their guts in the toilet, and you go in there, you're chewing it, and then the last thing I think I'd
Oh
want to
my
do is
God,
like,
yeah.
let's have a quick shag in toilet.
Yeah.
It's like, I
You're-
couldn't think
yeah.
of anything worse.
You're making it sound so romantic.
I know.
Oh, that's so good because it really deviates away. But I'm not, I'm feeling life is full. What I'm doing now is I'm saying yes to things because before there was that, it's Lyla and it's work and not room for much else. And now I'm really re-engaging with friendships because
Nice.
Lyla's also 22. And so I'm, you know, I would kind of not go out that much during the week, do a little bit at the weekend. And now I'm doing a lot more. And I'm traveling and just, I travel a lot for work, but I'm actually making an effort.
What's it like with the whole like leaving the nest? Like when Lyla left, was it like, oh my God, like what now? Did you just throw yourself into your business, or was it like, oh, thank God for that?
I think it's different for everyone. And I think it depends on how your child is because
Yeah.
Lyla had some anxiety between when she left school and when she went to uni. Lyla had an intention to do a gap year. I had really wanted her to do this course that I had sort of started and not finished it was an art course in Venice. It's like the most romantic, fabulous thing. And she was christened in Venice, and I had my 40th birthday in Venice. We have a big association with Venice.
Beautiful.
So I had this dream for her. You know, when you have a dream for your child, I had this dream for her, and she was really into it. And so September, you know, everyone was going off for stuff, but she was in London. She did a bit of work experience. And then in January, she was meant to start this, but she went away and she got profoundly anxious, and she'd had a little bit of anxiety before because she'd lost her dad at 11. And so that being totally away from home, even though she'd been at boarding school, being totally away from home made it things came up, and she became so aggressively anxious over a period of days. And so we got her back. And there's an amazing grief therapist called Julia Samuel who'd helped me when Johnny died. And I called her up and I said, what do I do? And she said, get this woman, Priscilla Short. So I got her to see her, and she saw her for a year.
Oh, wow.
And so then when she was going to uni, it wasn't so much, oh, I'm so sad she's going. It was, I really hope she flies.
Oh, that's lovely.
You know, and it was a
Yeah.
very different feeling. And so, you know, the first week, when I went there, I could feel that little anxiety, and we were in her little room. And so for me, it was, how do I make things feel like home? You know, like cozy rugs and prints on the wall. And then I did these Post-it notes that I put all around her little space. And so, you know, whether it was in her bathroom, on the mirror, it was like, don't pick your spots. And then by the side of her bedside table, it was a saying her dad always had said to her, which is 99% of everything you worry about never happens. And
like
so I
that.
put that there. And then just above her mirror where she does her makeup, but she pretends to work, I put breathe, you know, and there were these different
nice.
things
Yeah.
that we did. And then I put some things inside her laptop, which is, you know, you can use this not just for Minecraft, you can actually work, because it's a little bit like, so just, I think it's important that you can, when you leave your child in a situation which is new to them, they feel this comfort. And I then got back. This is the sweetest thing. I got back, and Zach, who's her brother, had moved in, and he was cooking me dinner. And he said, I'll come and stay for a couple of days. He stayed for a year and a half.
Oh, did he?
Yeah,
Oh.
but it was just very nice and so I wasn't on my own. So then this autumn, she went back to uni, but Zach had left because he's got his own place. His girlfriend said, you can't live with your stepmother age 31. You know, it's just not on.
Yeah, but you're a very cool stepmother.
No, I know, but still, it's the concept. And I get that. And so I was on my own for the first time, and I really missed her. I really felt it. I felt what I hadn't felt that first year, because it was very different.
Yeah.
And because, you know, I guess within that first period, you didn't know how it was going to go. She was heavily relying on you for that communication.
Yeah.
But now it's actually, she's gone and standing on her own 2 feet
Yeah.
and sort of flown the nest. That
Yeah.
with a Post-it, I literally felt like I could have cried when you said that. That's so sweet. I still cry, and I'm 40. I still cry when my parents leave my house. They live 3 hours away
Really?
from me.
Do you?
When they
Oh,
dropped me off at uni, I was literally, I looked like I was in a prison cell, and they brought all my stuff, making it home from home.
Yeah.
And you don't appreciate all this stuff until you become a parent. And then the last 2 summers ago, when my third child, my daughter, was born, my mum came to stay for a few weeks to help out. And they left as my 2 sons had a sickness bug. My mum and dad had to go back because they foster kids. So they needed to be back home to do various things. And I remember I was a bit hormonal, but I stood at the window, and I remember thinking, I don't want them to leave, because I feel so lucky that I've got them, and they've been so helpful to me. And it's when you become like a parent yourself, you realize, you know, how hard it was for your parents as well. But it's those little things. My dad would put some sweets in my glove compartment, or, you know,
that's
just like
really
little things, but the
sweet.
whole like Post-it
Yeah.
note and the empowerment of you writing
So
messages.
you're repeating what your parents did for you.
Yeah.
And I'm doing the opposite of what my mother did with me.
I gave my
Really?
mum a party bag to
That's
leave my house.
interesting.
Yeah. You gave her a party bag to leave your house.
Yeah, get out, go. Time's up, out.
Yeah. That's
I
it. That's-
adore her, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm like, Mum, leave.
Yeah.
It's
I think
it's
she likes
funny.
to leave
Everybody
as well.
has like such different sort of relationships, don't they, with parents and stuff? How was that for you?
I went to boarding school at 6.5.
Did
So
you?
yeah. So I think the relationship with my parents was slightly detached.
How often did you see them? When you were
I
at
saw
boarding school?
them 3 times a year.
Really?
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, really?
And there wouldn't have been phones or like,
No,
hey, Mum,
no
yeah,
emails,
it's
no
just
FaceTime.
that 10 calls a day like you've had in the past
It was
with
a
your
call a
daughter.
week.
That's really
It was a call a
insane.
week. So it was very different, and it was all I knew. So I didn't feel this is weird. And I was with girls obviously my same age who were going through the same thing. And on and off, I spent 2 years where I went to a school because they lived abroad, an American school in Germany, where I did see them every day, and I didn't particularly get on with my mum.
Right.
And then I went to boarding school again, 11 till I was 16. And then I moved to London and my parents were still abroad. So I have to say, I was the youngest of 6 for my dad and the youngest of 3 for my mum. And it was complicated, but I was never huggy with my mother. You know, we didn't have that.
When you look at Lyla when she was 6
Yeah.
and knowing that was your age when you
Horrific.
went, do you just
I
think
have to
how?
say,
Like
I
how,
literally
how
at 6.5, I remember thinking, I think I'd just done a chat with somebody and I got home and Lyla was coming back from school. And I really looked and I thought, I can't understand that.
And am I right in saying, and I maybe lots of people don't know this about you, is that you had 16 rounds of IVF?
I did have 16 rounds of IVF, yeah.
I mean, that's
Which is absolutely
like
incredible.
incredible.
Well, expensive.
Expensive.
And,
dedication.
draining for
Yeah.
you and your body,
Yeah.
mentally and emotionally. What was
Yeah.
that whole journey like for you?
It was interesting because I didn't know, I didn't have those yearnings to be a mum until my 30s. And maybe that was because my relationship with my mum was quite distant, but it wasn't that kind of, I didn't have that, God, I can't wait to be a mum feeling. And Susanna and I were working together, and Susanna had Joe, her oldest, and she had Joe when we had started a business together. I'd say, you know, I'd call her up at 8:30 saying, where are you? And she'd go, I'm breastfeeding. And I'd go, well, when will you be in? I had no regard at all
Yeah.
for the concept of motherhood for her. So that was baby number 1.
Yeah.
I like pretended she wasn't pregnant. Or I literally pretended she wasn't pregnant, pretended she didn't have a child because I couldn't deal with it. And then Esme came along, which was baby number 2 of Susanna. And I noticed this evolution in Susanna. And she helped me to appreciate how much I wanted to be a mum. And so with Joe, I did start doing IVF because we had never used the pill, and so we weren't getting pregnant. And so we then did IVF, and it worked on the second time, but I had miscarriages. So I was working, and then there was that whole thing of, you know, I was in situations where we were filming and I miscarried, you know, when we were filming. And that was the first time was quite, you know, you're sort of filming and then you feel that trickle and you go in the bathroom and then you go, oh, okay.
It's like your heart just sinks.
Your
to
heart
feet.
just
Yeah.
sinks.
And did you tell anyone?
I don't remember if I did, Louise. I don't know. I was quite private always between separating out work and what was going on. I definitely would have told Susanna, but I don't know if I would have told the production.
No. And you just carried on.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So you'd sort of feel
For
that
sure.
trickle and just be like, okay, well, we've got some more scenes to do, so I just need
Kind
to
of.
put my
Yeah,
work
because
head
otherwise,
back
what
on.
else do you do?
Yeah.
Because also, when you do IVF, it could be that you've put 2 eggs in and 1 egg is coming out. You don't know.
Oh, right,
So there's
okay.
that sort of sense that maybe, you know, and then
That hope.
tiny
still,
bit of hope.
yeah.
So then I did a few more, didn't work, and then I did again and I got pregnant, and then it happened again. But it happened a bit later. It happened at 16 weeks. So then I had to
Oh
go
my
and
gosh, I'm
I
so
had to
sorry.
give birth. It's very difficult because I haven't thought about this for a while because it was 24 years ago. But if I think about it now, I remember where I was living and I remember Johnny taking me to hospital. But I remember that thing of giving birth and I wanted to feel how formed was she,
Oh,
you know, and
God,
I didn't
yeah,
know if
yeah.
it was a boy or girl actually, and I didn't ask. I'm saying she because of Lyla, you know. So then Johnny went away. We'd done these full IVFs, full on. And then Johnny went away and my husband at the time was sort of sometimes not that well. He had problems with pain meds and he was in rehab. And so my lady called me up and she said, you've got some embryos. Do you want us to just put them in? You know, not do the whole IVF process. And so I said, why not? So I remember legs in stirrups, she put them in. And I literally thought, I've never done it this way before. It was literally sort of, there's eggs there, they're left. I'd sort of let go. It was a few years later. And I then just imagined it was the first time ever, because before then I would call literally day 12 and say, can I come in now for a blood test? You know, you had that feeling. Anyone who's gone through IVF.
How long was this period of time?
About 5 years.
5 years, right.
And so she called me up and said, you haven't called me. And it was like day 15. And I just thought, because also I literally thought it's not going to happen. So I then said, okay, I'll go in. And I was pregnant.
Wow. Oh my God, that feeling of
and that kind of like, but I then went over with Susanna and we went to do the Oscars in LA with this woman called Diane Sawyer, and we were on the red carpet, and it was a really big deal for us to do it. We were doing it for Good Morning America, and we were working quite a lot in America then. And Susanna was also pregnant with Cece, and we were both on the red carpet, and we both got back and we both had blood in our pants. Really? And so I just thought, that's it, you know, I've lost it again. And I remember calling up my guy in London in the middle of the night and just saying, I think I've lost baby again. So I arrived from the airport and I went straight to see him. And he had this little portable machine and he put it on my tummy and I could hear her heartbeat. Oh. And I literally so didn't expect to hear her heartbeat. Yeah. And so I couldn't believe it. And I think I'd lost an egg, you know, because they put a few back in, and I think I'd lost, you know, I won't call it a twin, but I think one of them came out. So then I literally had a scan every few weeks. I think when you've lost and you've miscarried, and also she did not move once.
Really?
And I think because I didn't feel her, I didn't know she was alive. Wow. And she was upside down and back to front. And that's why I didn't feel her. And she was quite little. And then I went a month and a half before just to have a checkup. And then I had to have her the next day because I'd lost fluid.
Oh, so how many weeks were you when she was born?
She was meant to be born at the end of November and she was born in October. So I don't know, 6 weeks.
And all of that apprehension, all of the 5-6 years of everything you've been through. And when you talk then, it was so raw and so relatable because we've both been through experiences and especially having fertility treatment, which I had to as well. It's that feeling when you hold that baby for the first time. Describe that moment when you held her.
It was a mix. It was a mix because I had to have a cesarean because she, couldn't come out. And so there was a fear all the way through that process. And then she came out and Johnny was holding her. And I said, is she okay? And he went, she's great. Just a little thing around her legs. And I remember pulling back the things and her legs were back to front. She had very bad talipes in both her feet because she'd been back to front and upside down. So her feet were like club feet and back to front.
Oh my gosh, really?
And so I remember looking at her and thinking she'll never walk. I remember that feeling. She will never walk. And then Tio came in and he said, I found this guy. He's the best person. And Trinny, we're going to operate on her now. And he's going to break all her bones and reset them.
Oh my gosh.
So they took her off.
And this was straight after she was born.
Yeah.
Within that moment, you just looked at her, processed.
I think they maybe did it the next day. Anyway, she came back from hospital with these casts on her little baby legs, which stayed on for about 6 weeks, and had to be changed every 2 weeks. And she had to have special shoes, and then she had to really she learned to walk a little bit differently. And then she's, by the time Lyla was 2, she was absolutely fine. But I think every step there was that. So you don't give yourself an expectation that everything's going to be perfect because you experience things. So you and then I wanted to have another child, and then I did another 5 rounds of IVF, but I didn't get pregnant because at this stage I'm 40. I have no hormones hardly left. And then as soon as Lyla was about sort of 7 or 8, and whenever I had a bloated tummy, she was literally, that better not be a baby because it's only me.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, only me. It's like my dog today. All right? It's all about me. Don't let any other dogs. So there is an element to Lyla where, and now we joke about it. She was like, God, if you had had another child, I wouldn't have let it exist. And I'm like, okay.
And can I ask a question? And it's like a personal thing. So you obviously experienced quite a few miscarriages and the failed experiences. Looking back now, what would your current self say to your previous self? Because there'll be people listening that have been through miscarriage or are experience, going through fertility treatment and stuff, that are feeling in that dark place. And like you said about, you have that trickle and you think, you just think, it's not work.
I think there's a mix. During that time, I felt I'll never be a mother, but I'll never not be a mother. You live in this suspension. But I felt so profoundly blessed. And the moment that kind of all came together is I wanted to do a christening for Lyla, where we so celebrated, in a way the christening was celebrating that 5-year journey, which had been a tough journey.
Yeah.
So I had this extravaganza, and I had gone a lot to Venice as a child. So I said, Johnny, I think we should christen Lyla here. This is such a beautiful church. So we found out that we knew it was an English church, and we called up the rectory. And the vicar's wife came on, and she went, hello. I went, hello. I was just going past your church, and I want to christen my daughter. I wonder if you'd be open to that. Do you live in Venice? I said, no, I don't live in Venice, actually. Do you have any connection with Venice? And I was like, I've been here a lot. I just don't know. You can speak to my husband. So this man came on and goes, hello. I go, hi. Well, you want to get your daughter christened in Venice? I go, yes. Do you have any connection to Venice? I go, no. What's your name? I went, it's Trinny. Trinny from the telly? And I was like, yes. And he was like, we watch your show. I was like, thank you, Lord.
That's the connection.
It was like, this is like the best connection ever I'd had for What Not to Wear. Wind the movie forward 4 months, and it's May weekend, and we're christening Lyla, and we're in this church, and I remember holding her, and they were saying the most relevant words, and the shaft of light came down and hit Lyla. And it was so, everyone in the church was like, oh my God, it was a real moment. And I caught it somebody caught it in a photograph. And I thought, miracle. This is a miracle baby. And I always feel as much as she can be challenging or whatever she is, which is generally wonderful, that sense of I'm so blessed that I managed to do this.
Going back to Lyla, I've seen you and Lyla together, and you do have this beautiful relationship. Like, does she borrow your clothes? Was she like that awkward teenager that was...
She did more tomboy look. And one thing about Lyla is she's never been a uniform dresser. So she doesn't have a set of friends where they all dress the same. We're at a stage now where I can't believe I do this, but I say, do you like what I'm wearing? Is that, because there was never anyone ever, I would say that to.
Yeah.
Ever. When people say, who are you inspired by to dress? And I go, no one.
Yeah.
Because
inspired by myself.
Yeah, inspired by myself. Yeah, exactly right. And just to have the freedom to say that without feeling one sounds arrogant. I am.
And
I'm inspired by myself.
Do look
you look
unbelievable.
Insane.
Yeah,
I
but
think
I
we need
looked,
to talk about
I have really looked my life. So I went through that period of Lyla too, of just like dressing. I had orange fake tan. She had a moment of like so much makeup, and that was challenging. She had spots and makeup. And that's when I did say, because I had had really bad acne, and I was like, darling, do you think maybe you should wear less foundation? And she would just throw it back at me and go, don't put on me the feelings you had as a 13-year-old.
Right. Has she ever hated any of your outfits?
I remember once walking down the King's Road, and I had a yellow suit on, and I had a yellow mango fluffy coat. So I was head to toe Sesame Street bird.
Right? Big bird from Sesame Street.
And I was just walking down the street, and she went, I don't quite know if I can walk down the street next to you. And I go, there's always the other side of the pavement, darling. It's up to you. I do think you can get to a time with your kid where they can be very critical of you. And I have always set up a very strong boundary that she can't.
And we were talking about this earlier, about your kids almost like dictators, and they bully you a little bit.
Yeah.
And you think if anyone spoke to you like that in the street, you'd be like, excuse me, don't speak to me like that. So that's really a really good, I'd say, like bit of advice is like that, the boundaries, because otherwise they would just use you.
Oh God, yeah.
So I do think there are times when I take it too far. I shut the door in her face kind of thing. But I feel that as a result, I try not to talk about how she dresses, and she doesn't talk about how I dress. But generally also she likes my style. So then we got to a stage where I have quite an archive of clothes. There's storage units around London, all right, because I worked in fashion for years, but I would take like a storage unit occasionally because I was sorting it out, and she'd like make a huge goddamn mess, and then I'd pull out, you know, designer dresses black, designer dresses vintage, designer dresses floral, designer dresses geometric, and she'd rifle through everything, and I put them in tissue paper neatly, and I'd just go, oh, and then I'd say, will you ever wear that? I'll never wear that. And she said, where she's got to now is, if I buy something new, whenever she comes back from uni, she comes in and she stalks my wardrobe to see what's new. She sniffs. She comes upstairs. I'm working there, and she'll just go around, go, what are you doing? She said, I'm just checking it out. So she'll sniff, and she go, that's new. Okay, yeah. And then she'll.
That's going to be mine.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's more. I did a big deal recently just for work, and it had taken sort of 8 weeks of literally 18 hours a day of working. And it was something that was profoundly stressful. And whenever I do something where it's that, whether it's something I've had to do or it's a success, I buy myself a bag. I inherited a few Hermes bags from my mum, but I had never bought one. And Johnny had given me one. And then I keep seeing influence with them, which puts me off them. But I also thought I'd like this bashed up grey one, and I kept eyeing it up. And then I went in the day I did that deal, and everything had been signed, and I'd sent off 300 million documents, and I was like so exhausted by it. I left the office and I said, Molly, I just need to go and get a coffee. So she came with me, and then we walked into the secondhand shop, and I went up, and I had been at the weekend to look at it for the 10th time, and I said, I'm going to take that. And it was a Birkin 40 in sort of Greece. So that was then in the cupboard. Okay, so she comes back, and she, you know, like this, and then she picks it up and she goes, hello, darling. One day you're going to be mine. I really look forward to our long relationship. And that's literally, she talks to my clothes.
Right, parenting fails.
Parenting fails, there are so many. Where do you want to start? Cooking for my child?
Yes.
Doesn't happen.
Would you burn food or just
I
not
burn
have an
food now.
Yeah. Do you?
Oh, I mean, yes. Susanna even put on her Instagram recently I'd put something in the oven, which was a pear and banana crumble, which I actually have made in the past, but that evening somebody had made, and I just forgot about it. And just before everyone was about to leave, I went, oh, there's dessert in the oven, took it out. It literally set the kitchen on fire. So I burn food, yeah. I burn food, and I am profoundly undomesticated.
I imagine your wardrobe is pristine.
Yeah, and I keep it. I keep it very neat. I can't deal with mess. So I am a very OCD.
It's just so hard when
But the thing is, you have more than one.
We've both got three.
You've both got three. And I think when you have one, there is a manageability, you know, where the first child is, and the second child is, and the third child is, lick the floor, really.
Bring yourself up.
So I never got past that first child syndrome.
Let's talk about Trinny London.
Yeah.
Because I think that our listeners
I don't know what
now,
we've given you.
I mean, well, I'm, as you know, huge
my
fan of
God.
Trinny. I'm sure,
Okay,
hopefully you've all
let's
seen
see,
the...
we might have just given you the wrong thing. So you can like...
I think if anyone's seen the Trinny Christmas gifting campaign, which I am in as the frazzled mum.
Plump up.
Plump up,
honestly,
yeah.
these
Have you
products...
tried
Firmer,
any?
bouncy skin.
Have you
This
tried
one?
I
any?
haven't yet.
You haven't.
There's a
routine.
you probably
I'm going to
looked
get.
at-
Let me see what you've got, because I'm going to give you a routine, because I do think that
Can you
having
tell
a
me,
routine.
right, as a mum,
Yeah.
I don't know what cleanser, toner, moisturiser.
All right,
I don't know how to
let's start
sort
at
my
ground zero.
face.
Whatever you're going to buy, I'm going to give you an analogy.
Yeah,
Do you have a wooden chopping board?
I do, yeah.
Okay. How often do you actually just rinse it under the sink versus clean it with a sponge
Yeah,
versus
yeah.
put a Brillo pad on it?
Yeah. There is a difference
There's
there,
a difference.
isn't there?
So
Yeah.
which ones do you do?
Well, I'm a bit of a deep cleaner at all
You are?
times.
Oh, I'm
yeah.
not. I
All
just
right.
brush things off.
Okay. What if it was meat?
Oh no, I'd give it a wash.
What kind of wash?
I would probably rinse it under the sink.
With water?
Yeah.
Would you put your washing thing with some fairy liquid on it?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. So you're a wet wipe girl,
Yeah.
but you could be an exfoliator.
Yeah.
All right,
I
because-
try really hard, but I
Okay.
just use all the wrong products.
Okay. So
Yeah.
because I do think that's the difference. And the thing is, you have lovely skin, but occasionally congestion. You've always had great skin. But you know, if you've born with great skin, you do less. And if you've born where at one stage you haven't loved your skin, you
I
try more.
used to have really bad acne.
Exactly. I know you did, because that's what I did. And that's why when you say you use lots of stuff, you don't know what it does, you're always thinking, will this be the solution?
I had to go on a contraceptive pill because my skin was
Dianet.
that bad. Yes,
Dianet.
yes. I went on to that for years, and it was recommended to come off that actually.
Yeah.
But I remember when I first went on it, my skin went so dry that when I smiled one day, my skin around here just cracked.
Oh, God.
And I
Did
was
you
like-
then go on
I was like,
Aractane?
"Ugh." Yes.
Yes, me too.
One more question, slightly random. What's your take on wearing PJs at the school gates?
I think that there's a way of wearing them where you do the half tuck and you do, but like literally, running out of bed and going there with your slippers on. No, it's like, you could, but is life really so busy that you can't afford to just tweak it? So tuck one bit in, do up the top button, put a brooch on it, throw on a coat just over your shoulders, get
love
some
it.
elastic bands and tuck the pajamas at the bottom in, and then put on a flat shoe. And suddenly you've got a really cool outfit.
I love that you're styling up the PJs
I
at the
love
school
that
gates.
you just made PJs sound so classy.
Yeah.
Like, put a brooch on,
Yeah.
put a jacket, and then
Little
you're like,
half
actually,
tuck,
that look
yeah.
really nice on some nice PJs.
Trinny, thank
much.
you so much for being here. I feel like there is so much more that we can learn from you.
Yeah, thank you.
What an icon. Trinny, everyone, thank you so much
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
If you've experienced any of the issues raised in the podcast today, please see the links in our episode description for support, resources, and organisations. Thank you.